filariasis, iltihab.
Strengthening AYUSH systems. Friends, India is one of the richest countries in the world in terms of biodiversity, has 15 agroclimatic zones, out of which 17,000 to 18,000 species of flowering plants, more than 7,000 are estimated to have medicinal usage in folk and documented systems of medicines like AYUSH systems. Medicinal plants are not only a major resource base for the traditional medicine and herbal industry, but also provide livelihood and health security to a large segment of Indian population. Given these facts, setting up of a raw drug repositories is a futuristic initiative of Ministry of Ayush, Government of India, and it is really proud to know that one of the institute of CCRUM, Regional Research Institute of Unani Medicine at Chennai, is playing an important role in collaboration with Siddha Council under the guidance of National Medicinal Plant Board and Ministry of Ayush. So today we will know about this initiative in detail. Before that, we have amongst us Dr. Mukhtar Kasmi, Joint Advisor Unani, as the guest of honor, and Dr. N. Zahir, Deputy Director Unani, RRM Chennai, as the Unani expert to deliver today's talk. So I extend a warm welcome to both of you. Dr. Mukhtar Ahmed Kasmi is presently working as a Joint Advisor Unani in the Ministry of Ayush. He earned his undergraduate and postgraduate degree in Unani medicine from Aligarh Muslim University, Aligarh. He joined the Department of ISMNH as Research Officer Unani in 2001, where he worked in numerous fields like drug control, Unani pharmacopoeia, Ayush pharmacy, IEC-related work, parliamentary and budgetary matter of national institutes under Ayush. He is a member of Board of Studies of AK Tibbiya College, Aligarh Muslim University, and ANU Tibbiya College, Delhi University. He attended and represented several meetings, seminars, conferences, workshops at national level on behalf of the ministry. He also visited South Africa, Bangladesh, and Dubai for promotion and propagation of AYUSH system. He is also a member of Project Monitoring Committee of Review of Projects of National Institutes and Research Councils under Ministry of Ayush. Thank you for joining us, sir. I request you to give the initial remarks for today's session. Ji.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Ghazala. Dear Dr. N. Zahir, Deputy Director Unani, RRIUM Chennai, and online participants from the various research councils, peripheral institutes, universities, research institute, colleges, etc. I am happy to deliver initial remarks for the fourth expert talk on the E-Charcha on Unani medicine for holistic health conducted through the AYUSH Virtual Convention Center platform on initiative of the Ministry of AYUSH. I have closely watched earlier three expert talks also, and I congratulate CCRUM, Ministry of AYUSH, for putting together this event. This E-Charcha is streaming live on various social media platforms of Ministry of Ayush. It is a good way to make maximum use of the digital platform and interact with each other. I am sure that this program is reaching to the masses widely. Today's talk on E-Charcha is role of drug repository in strengthening AYUSH system, which is being delivered by Dr. N. Zahir, Deputy Director Unani, RRIUM Chennai. At present, the Regional Research Institute of Unani Medicine Chennai is one of the premier institutes functioning under the Central Council of Research of Unani Medicine, New Delhi, Ministry of Ayush, Government of India. It was established on 6 July 1979 with the objective of undertaking scientific research on various aspects of Unani medicine. This institute premises spread over 3 acres of land was provided by the government of Tamil Nadu. The institute has developed over the years a sound research infrastructure and have obtained significant lead in the field of clinical research, drug standardization, safety evaluation of Unani drugs, survey and cultivation of medicinal plants, and molecular biological studies. During the last 4 decades of this existence, the institute has developed into the leading institution in the southern part of India and earned national fame for the successful treatment of Daul field filariasis, iltihab kabid, infective hepatitis, and Hudar, Wajul Mafasil, rheumatoid osteoarthritis. Today's topic, role of drug repository in stemming AYUSH system, is an important topic. There is an increased demand for the medicinal plant across the globe. COVID has further pushed the demand, and many of the key hubs like Aslusus, Asgan, Gilo, Tulsi, Kalmeg are on high demand. With the increasing demand for the herbal medicines, the National Medicinal Plant Board, which is engaged in development of the mechanism to ensure supply of quality raw material to AYUSH industry as well as consumers, has established raw drug repository. The main objectives and activities of establishing such repository are to act as a collection center of raw drugs available and used in each region, to act as an accredited reference library for authentication of raw drugs, to establish standard protocol and keys of the authentication of the raw drug used in the herbal industries, to act as a educational center for disseminating general awareness about the usefulness of raw drugs. I welcome all participants who have joined today to listen to our expert and provide their valuable comment for the betterment of the AYUSH system and Unani in particular. Thank you, Jai Hind.
Thanks a lot, sir, for touching upon this topic and for giving a brief introduction of RRIUM Chennai. Now we have amongst us Dr. N. Zahir, Deputy Director Unani RRIUM Chennai. Dr. Zahir did his BMS from the Government Unani Medical College Chennai and MD in Molijat from NIM Bangalore. He is gold medalist of his batch. Presently, he is Deputy Director RRIUM Chennai. He is actively engaged in clinical research and rendered his services to the council for nearly 3 decades. He has carried out various research projects in-house and collaborative mode, clinical and preclinical studies as principal investigator and co-investigator. He is also a co-investigator in the project of Regional Raw Drug Repository. He is the examiner of PhD program of NIM, Rajiv Gandhi University of Health Sciences, Bengaluru since 2019. He has been conferred with various awards. To name the important ones: Best Researcher Award, Best Paper Presentation Award, and Best Research Paper Award. He has attended and presented papers in around 60 national and international conferences and seminars within the country and abroad. He attended more than 18 training programs, delivered more than 50 public and guest lectures, and he has around 60 publications to his credit. So I invite Dr. N. Zahir, Deputy Director Unani, to deliver today's talk on role of raw drug repository in strengthening AYUSH system.
Thank you, Dr. Ghazala, for that brief introduction. Distinguished guest speaker, Dr. M.A. Khasmi Sahab, Joint Advisor, Unani, Ministry of AYUSH, Government of India, and my esteemed colleague, Dr. Ghazala, in charges from different peripheral institutions and online participants. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, namaskar, and a good afternoon to all of you. Let me share my presentation. Slides are visible?
Yes, yes. Please go ahead.
At the outset, it gives me immense pleasure to be a part of this E-Charcha on Unani medicine for holistic health, which includes a series of lectures on different aspects of Unani medicine. I take this opportunity to compliment and congratulate the team AYUSH Virtual Convention Center, Ministry of AYUSH, for making this happen. And thanks to Director General CCRM for organizing this e-activities on behalf of CCRM, Ministry of AYUSH, Government of India. Friends, before going to the topic, role of regional drought repositories in strengthening the AYUSH systems, as Dr. Ghazala was also touching upon the brief introduction about the topic, throughout the history, plants have been a source of medicines for the treatment of wide range of diseases. Plant parts and plant extracts have been traditionally used to prevent or cure diseases. During the recent years, there has been a resurgence in the use of herbal products, which may be due to growing consumer dissatisfaction with conventional medicines, progress in chemical, pharmacological, and clinical evaluations, development of newer dosage forms, and an increase in automedication. Though the demand for medicinal plants is quite high, but the supply is too meager. Hence, efforts are underway to create awareness among the farmers to cultivate medicinal plants which are endemic to their particular place and climate. Moreover, which is consumed.
Your slides are not moving. Have you moved the slide, or is it?
I'm just giving a brief introduction before going to the topic.
Fine.
This project is one of the prestigious, ambitious, and small project from the Ministry of AYUSH through National Medicinal Plants Board. This project has been recently launched by the Minister of AYUSH, Honorable Shri Padnayak, in the month of October 2020. This will be a game changer, in fact, if it is put into its right perspective. So with this great hope, I'm just going to speak on this topic which has been allotted to me on the role of regional drought repositories, how it will strengthen the AYUSH systems. So you must be aware that repository is basically a database that stores the metadata for a collection of raw drug specimens used in AYUSH systems and associated data used for scientific study. To be short, it will provide all the scientific data under one roof. Basically, this project has been conceived by National Medicinal Plants Board for the establishment of National Raw Drug Repository, which is in Regional Ayurveda Research Center, Research Institute, Jhansi, and regional raw drug repositories in various parts of the country for multi-dimensional referral center of raw drugs, which includes plants, animals, mineral or metal origin used in AYUSH systems of medicine. So these are all the key objectives for which this project has been initiated. This repository will act as an accredited reference repository for authenticated raw drugs. This will act as a model center for availability of certified reference standards of drugs for quality assessment. This will act as a center for quality certification of raw drugs. This will act as a center for market surveillance and monitoring on availability of raw material in trade. Act as a center for collection, compilation, cataloging, and documentation, including digitalization of information on raw drugs used in AYUSH system. This repository will also act as a model center to disseminate information, training, and create general awareness related to quality raw drugs. So with these objectives, this repository is going to be set up. Basically, what will be the focus of activities? Broadly speaking, 4 things are going to be expected from this project. The first one is a collection, compilation, cataloging, and documentation of information of raw drugs that are used in the AYUSH systems. And this is going to be collected from the different forest regions of various regions of India by different repositories. And after the phytochemical studies, a comprehensive monograph will be prepared. This collection of raw drugs and preserving passport data with label for future reference and display in museum. There will be a digital database also, wherein the plants are identified, named, interrelate, and in detailed studies of particular groups of plants, how they differ from each other by evolving certain key characteristic features. It will provide authenticated reference or samples or standards of products to the stakeholders. Then there will also be a development and publication of manuals for each raw drug, which are going to be studied in detail. Testing of raw drugs for quality assessment as per regulatory standards for the stakeholders by charging a nominal fee. As I earlier told you that the National Research or National Raw Drug Repository is set up at RARI Jhansi, and under which different RRDRs are going to come up. Basically, India has 15 agroclimatic zones, of which it has been classified under 8 regions covering all India and Union Territories states. The first one is Western Himalayan region, which will cover Jammu Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand. Eastern Himalayan region will cover the eastern parts of the country. Gangetic Plain region will cover Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal. Trans-Ganga Plain region will cover Haryana, Chandigarh, Delhi, Punjab. Eastern Plateau region will cover Jharkhand, Orissa, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh. Western Coastal Plain region will cover Maharashtra, Kerala, Goa, Daman, Diu and Lakshadweep. Western Dry region will cover Gujarat and Rajasthan. And Southern Plateau region, which we are looking into, covers 6 different states: Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Andaman, Puducherry, Tamil Nadu and Telangana. So if you see the different states, almost all the states of the country has been covered through these proposed regions. And we have started this project in the right earnest during the COVID pandemic itself. What is the concept of repository actually? See, as I have told you earlier, these raw drug repositories will be developed in a phased manner. It will take a long time and it will be done in a phased manner. Basically, it will be on the principles of the work specific to avoid duplication. Work which is being carried out will not be duplicated in other RRDRs, but will be following the same set of standards which are laid down. And there will be a strong networking of all the RRDRs with the NRDR. So the NRDR would network with regional raw drug repositories and would be primarily engaged in developing and maintaining the central database of raw drugs used in the country and in undertaking focused research on raw drugs. Whereas the RRDRs would, on the other hand, play a stellar role in collection, documentation and authentication of raw drugs collected largely from the respective agroclimatic region. Then the RRDRs would share and deposit one sample of each species collected with NRDR and would also provide necessary samples to the NRDR for research purposes. The focus of these repositories would be on the traded raw drugs used in the AYUSH system, those drugs which have a high consumption. So such type of drugs are first studied under this repository. In the first phase, the NRDR and RRDR shall collect authentic and market samples and develop a database of medicinal plants, emphasizing as enlisted in herbal drugs in the National Medicinal Plants Board sponsored national studies on demand and supply of medicinal plants. So we will be covering those aspects of drugs which have high demand in the market. So that will be the prime objective. Why is the need for NRDR and RRDR? You should understand that first of all is to increase awareness about the uses and benefits of herbal medicines, which has led to high demand of quality raw drugs. See, the market for medicinal plants in India stood at rupees 4.2 billion in 2019 as per a study, and this is expected to increase to 8.5%, that is to 14 billion by 2026. So just you compare this with the 4.2 billion which India is earning through market of medicinal plants. China is way forward before us. It earns an average 35.7 billion, almost 80% more than us. We are earning just 10% of the total, covering 10% of the market, whereas China is covering almost 80% of the market. So it earns 35.7 billion, whereas we are earning 4.2 billion only. So that is the need for bringing out this RRDRs. As per the World Bank reports, the trade in medicinal plants, botanical drug products, and raw materials is an increasing trend. As we see during the COVID pandemic also, that the increase for the yarn for AYUSH drugs has been on a steady rise, particularly as advocated by our Honorable Prime Minister. There is a steady increase of AYUSH drugs consumption. So in India, there are more than 9,500 registered Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, and homeopathic pharmacies industries. Almost 80-90% the Ayurveda industries cover. Rest of the 10% covers the other Siddha, Unani, and homeopathic pharmacies. And a number of unregistered cottage level herbal units which depend upon the continuous supply of medicinal plants for manufacture of herbal medical formulations. Large quantities of medicinal plants and resources are also consumed by traditional healers, practitioners of ISM, and households as part of the traditional healthcare practices. So a nationwide study on demand and supply of medicinal plants in India, the species in trade are sourced entirely or largely from the wild. It is said that almost 80% of the plants are taken from the wild source, whereas the remaining 20% are from the cultivated source. This slide shows the demand of medicinal plants from health sector. About 131 plant species are used in all the codified systems of medicines practiced in India, which includes Ayurveda 1,587 species, Siddha 1,128 species, Unani 503 species, Savarikpa 253 species, Homeopathy 468 species, and Western medicine includes 192 species. So this is the demand of medicinal plants from the health sector. As far as the supply of medicinal plants is concerned, out of which 242 plant species are such that it has a record high annual trade. This includes 57 species that are cultivated mainly for purposes other than medicinal use, 7 species that are cultivated for aromatic oils, 4 species for which availability of plant sources could not be verified. And these 242 plant species are taken out from the forest, 114 species, which includes Himalayan forest 36 and tropical forest 78. Wastelands 59 species are collected. Through cultivation 54 species are supplied and 15 species are imported from different countries. So nearly 72% of the species in high demand continue to be sourced from the wild source, while only 22% is sourced from cultivation. These are all those drugs which has a consumption levels of more than 100 metric tons. So this is the various segments of Indian herbal markets. ASU and H formulation is part of it. It also covers the proprietary ethical over-the-counter drugs, herbal cosmetics, herbal teas, functional foods and nutraceuticals, extracts or phytochemicals, resins and gums, flavors and fragrances, aromatic oils, aromatherapy, culinary herbs and spices, veterinary herbal products. These are all the various segments of Indian herbal market. There are several issues in the present scenario that emphasize the need for the establishment of repositories both at the national as well as regional level. The raw material sourced from the forest and other wild sources always remains a subject of questioning, subject of authenticity as to their proper identity. Therefore, a comprehensive mechanism is required for proper authentication of these raw materials used by the manufacturers for preparing the ASU and H drugs. Sometimes raw drugs derived from even cultivated sources are also rejected either for their poor active constituents or for lack of authenticity. So these are all the issues. Several issues are there which has to be addressed. The main issue is resource availability because there are approximately 960 plant species. Around 20% of the total supply of medicinal plants comes from cultivation, while the remaining 80% being collected from forest and roadsides, usually in an unsustainable manner. So the rising industrial demand and uncontrolled exploitation has caused wild populations of many of these species to come under the red list categories, which are endangered and threatened plants. That's the reason that these drugs have been placed under red list categories. Another issue with the present scenario is the quality of raw materials. Most of the adverse drug reactions to phytomedicines and toxicity could be attributed mainly to the contamination or substitution of the plant material contaminants, mostly likely to be found in medicinal herbs or heavy metals, microorganisms, pesticides, herbicides, etc. So these contaminants cannot be excluded completely, but may be significantly reduced by proper GAP methods and harvesting practices. Any one of the factors like collection, formulation, dispensing or packaging and dosage can be the cause for this substandard material. So this leads to low credibility and reliability in the minds of the ultimate users. Traceability is also one issue where you have a lack of traceability of raw materials. We doesn't know where from the raw material has come from. Most companies would like to understand the chain of raw. This is the biggest question posed in different forums, wherein we are not in a position to exactly say from where the exact source of this drug is. So these RRDRs will play a definite role in tracing out the origin of the raw material. And there is one more issue of documentation. Inadequate information about collectors, traders, users, and regulating agencies about the proper identity of the specific plant entitles, resulting in improper use of plant materials for preparation of ASU and H formulations. And the other issue is rationalization. Lack of harmonization in use for same raw drug entity across different regions of the country with multiple drug names. You have several raw drugs which is used in different regions with different names. So these must also be rationalized in such a way that all these drugs has a standardized names. And one more issue which is concerned with medicinal plants is authentication. Lack of properly identified raw materials in use and absence of credible database of macroscopic, microscopic and phytochemical profiles to serve as a reference for authentication and verification of such materials. So RRDR will play a great role in authenticating the identified raw materials. So what is the task of NRDR? And then I'll speak of the RRDR. See, these are all the activities of NRDR, which includes what the National Raw Drug Repository will do at Jhansi is, they will collect all the raw drug samples from different RRDRs, which are established in different regions in a phased manner. Southern Plateau region work has been already initiated. So they will compile all this. Then they will develop a national museum of raw drug samples. They will catalog and profile the raw drugs. They will develop and maintain the web-based library and virtual repository. This will not only, I'll speak later about the RRDR. Then they will also set standard manuals for testing of raw materials. A standard manual will be prepared as to how to test the raw material. Maintenance of database of macroscopic, microscopic and chemical profiles of raw drugs and developing DNA profiles of important raw drugs. Then services like authentication, testing, training, etc. These will all be carried out by NRDR. Then this will also have a supply of certified reference standards for each raw drug, which have been collected from different forest regions. Then this will also guide and steer the activities of, they will also supervise and monitor the activities of RRDRs. They will also indulge in marketing monitoring as to assess the demand supply aspect and any other services related to a raw drug, medicinal raw drug. Coming to the activity of each RRDR, basically this activity can be classified under four headings. First one is the collection of raw drugs. A list has already been prepared. The list is based on the essential drug list, which is available from each system. So we are picking up from those drugs, and from that list, we are going to collect from the different forest regions. While collecting the fresh specimens, we will also be collecting some market samples also to assess the difference between these two samples. And after collecting these raw samples, we will process it and supply it to the our collaborating institution, wherein they will do all the quality control studies, pharmacognostical studies, and DNA based studies. So this will be a part actually. Now, apart from that, the main lead institute will be establishing a physical infrastructure as well as a virtual repository. So that will be the work of the main lead institute. We are working as a collaborative institute. And later on, these drugs will be the raw drug samples which have been collected, identified through different key distinguishing factors based on microscopic, macroscopic and chemical profile of products. These will be their monographs will be prepared in a systematic manner with all the barcode and all. Then ultimately these will be kept in the local RRDR as well as the sample of a specimen will also be given to the NRDR, and this will also be exhibited in a physical as well as virtual mode. So these are all the activities which are going to be covered under RRDR. Now coming to the RRDR Southern Plateau region, the lead institute for this project is National Institute of Siddha under the director Professor Dr. Meena Kumari. There are two principal co-investigators. One is myself from the Unani Council and other from the Siddha Council. So this is an excellent example of intra-AYUSH collaboration. In 2018, Government of India Ministry of AYUSH has organized an intra-AYUSH conference wherein different experts of different councils have brainstormed and came out with solutions as to how we can collaborate within the AYUSH councils itself. So there are now excellent examples of how Ministry of AYUSH is promoting and motivating for intra-AYUSH collaborations in the form of different projects such as pharmacovigilance is there, wherein different councils are collaborating with different other councils. Likewise, we have this establishment of regional raw drug repositories, wherein different councils are coming closer to carry out this work. Previously, what happened was initially private NGOs used to take up these projects. Now, Ministry of AYUSH is insisting and promoting the different councils as well as different national institutions of various AYUSH systems to collaborate among themselves to carry out such novel projects. So this is one best example in which we have come together to carry out this Herculean task. So basically, the responsibilities are divided in such a way that we have at RRIM Chennai has the expertise of visiting different forest regions of the southern India. Our botanist has already been in this work. They have been collecting different wild raw drug collection from different forest regions. We will collect it, we will process it, and we will give it to our other collaborating institutes, that is SCRI, Siddha Central Research Institute, who will do the other part of the experimentation, which I will talk in detail in the coming slides. Then the NIS, which is the lead institute, they are already having an upcoming building wherein they are going to establish the RRDR in a physical as well as virtual mode. They will be also surveying the literature for collection, that is for shortlisting the medicinal plants which are going to be collected from the different forest regions. And they will also showcase the different samples, herbarium, as well as key distinguished characteristic documents in their museum. So this is the main work which are going to be carried out by the lead institute as well as the collaborating institutes. Now coming to our objectives, basically what we are trying to do here is we are going to create a global reference library. Specific monograph of each raw drug which are studied is going to be brought out. Then there will be a quality control system under which all the studies will be carried out. This is going to be in such a way that all the different RRDRs will be carrying out the work on the same lines in a standardized manner. So the work which has been allotted to us is being shared with all the RRDRs. So we'll be doing it in a very standardized way. We will be establishing an image library as well as a virtual repository. Then there will be national museum also. after establishing this, there will be a part of education, training, and paid technical and bibliographic services will be extended to the stakeholders. Then they are also thinking of bringing out an Android application wherein all this information will be stored. Then naturally there will be networking between the NRDR as well as other RRDRs also in future. So these objectives are going to be attained in a phased manner. In the first phase, we have the global reference library, then specific monographs of each raw drug collected will be carried out. Then there will be a series of quality control studies. Then ultimately a museum of raw drugs will be established. In the phase 2, image library and virtual repository will be established. Once it is established, then different stakeholders, research scholars, they may come and get benefited out of this repositories, and Android as well as an iOS application will also be created for this project, and ultimately networking between NRDR and RRDRs. So basically the NAS part will be to first they have shortlisted the drugs which are to be collected from the different forest regions. Then they will have a raw drug museum, both physical as well as virtual, which I've already told you. Then there will be a development of mobile applications, which will be an image and visual library. And the fourth task will be education and training. Our botanists, few JRFs have been recruited for this project. Since our botanist is is having an expertise on this aspect of collection of medicinal plants, he will be guiding them to for the field surveys. We have planned in such a way that we will be covering all the 6 different states in a phased manner. We have already given the action plan, which state we are covering when, for how many days the survey will be. This part will be done by our institute. And once the plants are collected, there is a chance of contamination. So that has to be poisoned in a standardized way. And from there, they will bring the specimens will be brought to the institute. And here they will process the specimens, and they will make herbariums of each raw drug. Simultaneously, we will also be collecting the raw drugs from markets also, market samples, so to see the similarity or dissimilarity between both the specimens. And ultimately, after doing this, we will be supplying the plant specimens or the mineral and animal origin drugs to the Siddha Central Research Institute, who will be carrying out all the quality control studies as well as the fingerprinting studies, and a specimen of these raw drugs will also be sent to NIS for the museum purpose. So we will be collecting basically the raw drugs. Then we will also be collecting market samples, and we will be doing the herbarium. I will show in my slides how the herbarium sheets are maintained. This process we will follow. Once the specimen is given to our other collaborating institute, they will do the pharmacognostical and chemistry related work at Animal Mineral Drug Research Laboratory at CCRS, that is CRH Chennai. They will authenticate the nature of raw drugs through different macroscopic and microscopic studies as well as physiochemical studies. They will also be doing molecular studies. That is, they will be doing the DNA fingerprints and the chemical fingerprints, which is specific to each raw drug. So the DNA fingerprint studies will be carried out through this specific markers. Each plant has got its specific marker. These will be carried out through this RAPD, that is random amplification polymorphic DNA, as well as sequence characterized amplified region. These are all the instruments through which this DNA fingerprints will be carried out. And ultimately, a barcoding system will be established for the identification of these drugs. The molecular studies will be carried out through the different HPLC, HPTLC, gas chromatography, and the MS studies to develop chromatographic fingerprints or marker assays for each drug. Then there will also be inductively coupled plasma optical emission spectrometry studies of elemental contaminants as per United States Pharmacopoeia to see the elemental contamination in the raw drug through this particular instrument, ICP-OES. So after doing all these molecular studies, there will be a development of key distinguishing characters for each drug, which will be developed on the basis of the DNA fingerprinting. And ultimately, a raw drug monograph will be developed for the stakeholders. So this is the quality analysis of raw materials. Now I have already discussed this about this, how the raw materials will be analyzed qualitatively through different quality control studies. Let me take this also opportunity to briefly introduce about the infrastructure which is available at the ROM Chennai. This is the main building of ROM Chennai. This is the upcoming pharmacy building, in which at present the OPD is going on due to the COVID restrictions. Very soon the pharmacy is going to be initiated here, and the instruments have already been, machineries and equipments have already been orders has been given, and very soon we will be a functional pharmacy will be there in the near future. This is our reception in the left, and the OPD section in the right slide. This is our pathology and biochemistry lab. All our clinical research studies, basically the scientific parameters are assessed in these lab. The basic all the pathological and biochemical investigations are carried out through these labs for our different clinical research studies. This is the phytochemistry lab in which all the quality control studies are being conducted at ROM Chennai. High-end instruments in the DSRU section, drug standardization research unit. Our drug standardization research unit is a certified DTL lab, that is approved by, that is a drug testing license laboratory approved by the government of Tamil Nadu. We have a microbiology as well as a pharmacognosy lab. We have also a raw drug museum at ROM Chennai. This is the regional raw drug repository at our institute. This section has been inaugurated virtually by the Honorable Minister of AYUSH in the month of October last year. We also have a survey and cultivation of medicinal plants units, whose main activity is to visit different forest regions and collect medicinal plants which are used in Unani system. Our botanist is engaged in collection of medicinal plants, and we also collect folklore medicines from different tribes residing in those forest areas. Council has also brought out a monograph on the different collection of folklore remedies in the form of a monograph. This is the collections on the roadside. These are all the recent photos, surveys conducted as part of RRDR activity. This is our botanist, Dr. Venkatesan, along with the field attendant. See, the bark of a tree is collected. After collecting it, they are documenting it in a herbarium. The herbarium sheet is there with him. This is the herbarium which is in a digitalized form. We are also digitalizing the herbariums which have been collected in the institute. So this is one of the herbarium sheet of Karanjwa, Cisalpinia Christa, which we have digitalized. We also have a herbal garden in which experimentally cultivated medicinal plants are also being carried out. Alpinia galanga, Holanjan, and you have Bakchi plants, Sorelia cardifolia. These medicinal plants are also being experimentally cultivated at the Institute's herbal garden. Let me also take this opportunity to briefly introduce you about the National Medicinal Plant Board, which is the mother organization for all the activities concerned with medicinal plants. This has been basically set up in year 2000 under the chairmanship of then Honorable Minister of Health and Family Welfare. And once the Ministry of AYUSH has been bifurcated from it in the year 2014, so NMPB has also come under Ministry of AYUSH. This is the apex level organization headquartered in Delhi. It is headed by CEO Dr. JLN Shastriji, who is a dynamic Ayurvedic physician, and basically this NMPB is coordinating all the activities related to medicinal plants. And for this RRDR project, it has allotted 5 crore rupees. It's a 5-year project. These 5 crore rupees has to be bifurcated in 3 different institutes. So we have already did that, and the work is now in progress. These are all the areas on which the National Medicinal Plants Board is working upon. One is concerned with conservation of the medicinal plants. It also promotes cultivation. Some research activities are also going on, and it also creates quality assurance for these raw drug samples. Forward linkages, link between the farmers and the prospective buyers, that is also being carried out. Then there are so many awareness activities which are being carried out by NMPB. It also looks into the trade and regulatory issues, and as well as international liaisons through international development through liaisons with different global organizations. Coming to the potential of India in medicinal plants, we know that it has a great India with approximately 8% of the world's biodiversity, including plant genetic diversity with medicinal properties. India has the potential of becoming a major global player in market for medicinal plants and medicinal products. So there is a lot of scope for medicinal plant sector in India. India could also become a world leader due to its comparatively advantages in climatic conditions. Different agroclimatic zones are there in India, so it has an advantage. It has a traditional knowledge also, and scientific capabilities is there. So in future, it will become a world leader in medicinal plant sector, we hope, and so it also has the sustainable livelihood for more than 100 million people, mostly tribals, through sustainable collection and primary processing. It's a good substitute for small farmers, particularly tulsi and makko. These plants could be easily cultivated and sold in the market. It also provides a viable opportunity even in extreme climatic conditions like isabgol in Rajasthan, senna, which is widely cultivated in Tamil Nadu, likewise atis and kut in high altitude areas of the Himalayan region. This is the supply chain of medicinal plants, how the medicinal plants are supplied down to the domestic market as well as the overseas market through different levels of suppliers. There are issues related to marketing, adequate marketing linkages, example mandis, marketplace. There are no any proper linkages. So these RRDRs will definitely create a linkages between the mandis, marketplace as well as the prospective buyers. Then there is unorganized supply chain of medicinal plants, which I have already told you. There should be a proper supply chain should be maintained about the traceability, about the rationality, about the authentication. All these will be taken into consideration by the project. Then there are lack of proper facilities also, like drying yards, storage, grading, etc., as per the requirements of the industries and exports. Then there are lack of semi-processing units for value addition. Likewise, lack of marketing intelligence, for example, assessment of demand, supply-based pricing, etc. This remains very obscure now, as of now. So once these repositories are come into the physical form, these issues hopefully would be addressed. Shortcomings: there are too many species of medicinal plants. Then there is a preference for wild collected source, absence of marketplace, proper marketplace in different regions. Still, medicinal plants are considered as minor forest produce. There is absence of cultivation technology. Good agriculture practices are not being followed. Good cultivation agriculture practices are not being followed. Still, it is not a priority area for many of us. Role of traders and unorganized sector is also a shortcoming. Quality and authenticity, hope this will be addressed by the establishment of these repositories, and availability of quality planting material. So what are all the new initiatives which are being taken up by medicinal plant sector, NMPV particularly? It is developing guidelines for GAP as well as GFCP. It is developing training module for GAP as well as GFCP, and trained representatives from various parts of the country as master trainers, so that these good agriculture practices and good field cultivation practices can be adopted by all the stakeholders of medicinal plants. It has launched a voluntary certification scheme for GAP and GFCP, so that there is availability of quality raw material in collaboration with quality control. Likewise, it has developed agro techniques for 104 species and published it in 3 volumes. It has launched a web-based mobile app called E-Charcha, an online platform for sale, purchase of medicinal plants raw material, and also provides a platform for knowledge sharing and interaction among stakeholders. Then establishment of regional facilitation centers of NMPB, mandated to look into coordination among various stakeholders of medicinal plants at regional level as well as national level for the promotion of medicinal plants. So the RRDRs also come under this NMPB. Then there is drafting of national policy of medicinal plants. All these works are being carried out by under the aegis of National Medicinal Plants Board, Ministry of AYUSH, Government of India. So what will be the future course of action? It will develop agro technology for remaining high in demand medicinal plants, cultivation to be linked with quality medicinal plants, and assured market with minimum support price, quality standards and certification of medicinal plants produced for GAP and GFCP, setting up of medicinal plants procurement corporation and link it with manufacturing units, establishment of germplasm collection units, and variety development for high yielding varieties with high active ingredients. It will also involve in conservation, sustainable harvest of medicinal plants, and standard market price or minimum support price. So these are all the activities which are going to be carried out in future. It will also train to all stakeholders. Then it will also ensure the supply chain for medicinal plants. Ultimately, all these activities will be strengthening the AYUSH systems of medicine. That is what I was saying, that these all these activities will help in the promotion and development of AYUSH systems. It will help in standardize the quality certification of products used in AYUSH, help in collation of information in the form in which products are usually traded, depending upon the time, season, and maturity stage for collection, habitat, practices of post-harvest handling, classical methods of harvesting and processing, etc., acting as global referral library along with database of information, creating awareness and capacity building of various stakeholders in respect of good harvest and post-harvest handling practices for quality of end products and maximum returns to the end users. Authentication of raw materials used by herbal industry and under export. So acting as an accredited educational center for creating awareness about India's medical traditions at various forums, both nationally and internationally, dissemination of information through print media and electronic media, development of passport data for easy export, accreditation center for quality certification. Then there will be through this global acceptance for quality of AYUSH raw materials, as certified raw materials are made available through RRDRs. Use of latest analytical techniques for quality control will enhance the reliability of the quality parameters. Awareness among AYUSH scholars about importance of the quality of raw materials, as RRDRs are established at National Institutes of AYUSH 2. RRDRs will serve the purpose of training AYUSH fraternity on quality control as well as research and development of regional product materials. RRDRs will also provide scientific basis for quality of AYUSH medicines, as monographs on quality of every raw material is made available through the RRDRs. So in conclusion, what we would like to say is, repository is basically a database which will store the metadata of the collection of preserved plant specimens and associated data used for scientific studies. Basically, it will be a one-stop solution for all the issues related with medicinal plants. There will be a multi-dimensional referral center of raw drugs used in AYUSH systems. The proposed raw drug repositories are poised to act as one-point mode for information on raw drugs used in AYUSH sector and will be of immense value. It's an ideal example of intra-AYUSH collaboration. This project is an ideal example of intra-AYUSH collaboration. Ultimately, it will be a win-win situation to all the stakeholders, both for the government at one end and farmers at the other end. Hopefully, this project would be a game changer for the national medicinal plant boards. We hope that this project will see the light of the day, and the activities and the objectives for which this project has been conceived will see the light of the day very soon. With this, I conclude. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Zahir, for a very informative and comprehensive presentation. You took us to a virtual tour of RRIUM Chennai and showed us the infrastructure available for your institute and for raw drug repository. It was really very informative. You informed that around 4131 plant species are in use by AYUSH as well as Western medical systems. You gave us an understanding about repositories, the trade status of medicinal plants, why it is important to have raw drug repositories. Also, that raw drug repositories are being set up pan-India at national level and at regional level, covering almost all agroclimatic zones. This initiative is being carried out through intra-AYUSH collaboration, as you rightly mentioned. And our institute, National Institute of Siddha is involved in this. Research Council of Siddha is also involved in this. CCRUM is there. National Medicinal Plant Board is overall guiding and providing the mentorship. And we are moving together, moving ahead in Southern Plateau Raw Drug Repository. As you rightly said, intra-AYUSH collaboration was a vision and initiative of respected Secretary AYUSH, that all the AYUSH institutes should work in collaboration and utilize each other's strength areas in infrastructure and technical expertise for moving ahead. And a conference was also organized for the same, where all the heads of the research councils and national institutes sat together and discussed how to move ahead in this direction. So congratulations to the whole team. You also mentioned it will help in quality control, research and development of raw drug materials, certification and authentication of raw materials, and this facility will also help manufacturers for identifying and testing raw materials of plants, mineral and animal origin. So basically maintaining the supply chain. You also mentioned about the phases, that this project will be covered in different phases, and you showed us the pictures of the botanists and the workers from your research research institute going in the field and collecting the raw data. So what exactly is the status as of now of this drug repository?
I'm very happy to share that our institute has taken the lead in this regard, and since we have the expertise, we have started as soon as the project was allotted. Our main mandate was to collect medicinal plants from different forest regions. There is a set of standards to visit a forest region, without which we cannot enter into the forest. We get permission from the principal chief conservator of forest, and our botanist without just a month back only the other personnel were recruited, but our botanist has taken extra interest and visited certain forest regions which are in the neighborhood of Chennai city, and about I think more than 30 medicinal plants has already been collected from neighboring forest regions of Tamil Nadu. And in the near future, we have put an action plan in which we will be visiting forest in the different regions of the southern states, as well as Andaman.
Okay. So you mentioned about EDL, that to begin with, you are picking up the medicinal plants from the EDL. One of the viewer wants to know more about it, like can you elaborate on what is exactly EDL, and then later on, What will be our strategy, whether we'll be picking up more medicinal plants after that?
See, actually, basically, we are collecting such medicinal plants which have high trade value.
But you mentioned about essential drug list also.
Yeah, essential drug list also. So, which are consumed more than approximately, I think, 242 plant species are there, which are consumed in a very large quantity, more than 100 metric tons. So we are particularly going with those medicinal plants which have a usage in both the systems. And since we are collaborating with Siddha system, we are picking up those medicinal plants which have a usage in both the systems. And since Siddha system has an affinity or a usage of mineral as well as metal origin drugs, so that is also being looked into from these mineral or metal origin drugs are collected from market source.
Okay. So you also mentioned about your institute being the DTL lab. Can you explain that to us more, to our viewers? What do you mean by that?
Actually, basically, a decade back itself, we have got the license of this drug testing license laboratory. Ours is a recognized laboratory for doing physiochemical standardization studies for different raw drugs. We not only test the in-house samples, but also the samples which are coming on outsourcing basis. We are receiving from different research institutions the raw drug samples for physiochemical standardization studies as well as SOP studies. Basically, we carry out quality control studies, wherein we not only do the pharmacognostical studies, but also the quality control in which that is the each drug has got its own fingerprint, which we do it through HPTLC. And there are certain heavy metals also in the raw drug samples. We test it through the atomic absorption spectroscopy, AAS. And we also have a microbiology lab wherein we test the microbial content in the raw drug samples. And we also do aflatoxin studies also. So all these include, and pesticides also, whether pesticides are there or not, we outsource that particular part. So all these studies together form the basis for quality control studies. So these we do it on for our institutions also, as well as we get the samples from other institutions also. And we charge it a nominal charge for this testing.
That's really good to know that your institute has DTL lab, accredited lab. One more thing, like there's a concept of, substitutes. When we are talking about medicinal plants and raw materials, हम बदल की बात करते हैं यूनानी system of medicine में. In the current context or practically, how much we are paying attention to this concept of badal or substitutes of medicinal plants which are not available. And when you are working for these drug repositories, and we are talking about the raw material which is our medicinal plants, are we keeping in mind this concept also, which is very much listed and written in Unani classical texts of the usage of substitutes and badal?
The concept is there, image there, but we have to see it. We will just not take it at the face value whether the drug will be act as a substitute or not. We have to do certain basic studies wherein the content, the alkaloid contents which are there in the main drug are available in these plant material also or not. Unless and until we are satisfied with the same content of or near equal content of alkaloids, we will not be rest assured. So I just forget the one study which has been carried out in RRM Srinagar, wherein they have given the drug which is a drug which has also got a badal substitute. They have tried to validate it through a scientific study in the animals. The same action has been there in both the drugs. So in one way, the concept of Abdale Adviya or drug substitution is validated through that study which has been carried out in RRM Srinagar. We are very much concerned about it also.
Yeah, that's what I meant also, when I raised this topic, because this is one of the area where we can work and validate this concept of Unani system of medicine, as you just gave us an example. Coming to the address of our guest of honor today, he had mentioned certain strength areas of RRIM Chennai. So, being the director in charge over there, deputy director in charge over there, can you throw us some light on the strength areas of RRIM Chennai? What are the strength areas on which you are working? What kind of patients are coming to you more in your OPDs? So
As
that our viewers can benefit from
As
that.
our joint advisor, Dr. Hasmi Saab was telling that filariasis, rheumatoid arthritis, and infective hepatitis were the areas in which we took a great lead actually. And ultimately, these drugs which have been used in these projects have now come in the that is through the special that is paid OPD, which we called post-trial access OPD, through which we are now catering to the needs of the public. So it has the RIM Chennai has got its own reputation in the treatment of rheumatoid arthritis as well as this viral hepatitis. So both of these drugs 301 and 304, which are now in the coming through post-trial access OPD, as well as Unim 104, a drug which has been for which the clinical study, extensive clinical studies has been carried out here in RIM Chennai, and now that has come in the form of these drugs which are easily available to the public at a very nominal cost. For 15 rupees per day consultation, 5 rupees is being charged. At the rate of 5 rupees, we are giving medicines for 30 days or 60 days for people who are coming from out of stations. So we and not only that, we are mostly getting the patients of skin disorders, being in a very tropical climate. Chennai being a very tropical climate, we get a lot of skin disorders. We get musculoskeletal disorders and neuro disorders. These are all the areas where we get a lot of cases. Actually.
Okay, thank you. And yesterday there was one question on Munzil Musil therapy. I couldn't take up because our live session was over. And today, like you are mentioning, that there are a lot of patients of musculoskeletal disorders, and I'm sure you might also be administering regimenal therapy to the patients. So, can you explain a little bit about regimen therapy and Munzil Musil therapy for the benefit of our viewers?
Yeah, see, actually, we have a separate regimenal therapy block. That is, recently second floor has been constructed for that exclusive purpose of establishing a regimenal therapy large with Tadbir unit. Unfortunately, due to some administrative reasons, we could not install those machineries which are required for the full functioning of the. However, with the available infrastructure and the available instruments, we have started getting patients, and we are treating them through regimenal therapy. Basically, regimenal therapy is one of the strength area of Unani system of medicine, and it is nothing but we have a concept of Asbab Sitte Zaruriya, which is the 6 essential principles for the preservation of health, and these 6 principles have to be modulated in such a way that the health is restored through drugless regimens. This is what we meant to say Ilaj bit Tadbir, and through these tadabir, through these different regimens, we are trying to basically some regimens like what you said quoted is Munzij and Musil therapy. This is basically for those patients who have a Maddi Mars, not for all. Whoever comes, we will perform Munzij Musil therapy, we will perform Hijama, Bishart. No, it's not like that. One who has got a disease with the involvement of morbid humors, which is assessed through different external as well as internal parameters. Once that is comes to diagnose that it is a Maddi Mars, then we admit administer certain single drugs in the form of decoction. Ultimately, what this does is it liquefies the morbid material and enables in such a way that with the addition of certain purgative drugs that is expelled from the body. Once that is expelled out, then there is a concept of tadile mizaj, where the temperament is restored. Once the temperament is restored, then there are certain general tonics for different organ systems. Like if you have the MERS if you have a disease of vaginal fossil, then certain drugs which are exclusively administered in vaginal fossil will be added. If you have a heart problem, then certain cardioprotective drugs will be added in that formulation. This is how the line of management is carried out in Unani medicine.
So basically, you are saying it is need-based. We can systemize the treatment as per the requirement of the patient and as per the temperament of the patient, and it is quite effective. I think this is one of the area where your institute is doing a good job. I must say that. I can also see our guest of honor, Dr. Mukhtar Kasmi, sir. Sir, would you like to say some concluding lines, 1-2 lines?
Yeah, the presentation was very good and it was delivered by the Dr. Zahir Qazi and Dr. Ghazala. This is a very much informative, and we talked about the medicinal plant and everything. So my thanks and congratulations to Dr. Zahir Qazi and Dr. Ghazala. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your presence. That was, encouraging for us. And then I'll again thank you for your presence. And Dr. N. Zahir, it was a wonderful talk, and we are getting nice comments, and people are really happy to know, because, when we talk about raw drug repository, people are thinking, what is repository? Basically, what we are talking. You gave us a stepwise description, which was very clear, and your institute is doing a good job in intra-AYUSH collaboration under the leadership of Professor Asim Ali Khan Sahib, who's the Director General CCRUM. And I would like to thank you and compliment the whole team. Thank you so much. And we'll call it a day today, and I'll thank the respected Secretary Ayush Vaidya Rajesh Kuteja ji, Shri Pramod Kumar Pathak Sahib, and Shri P.N. Ranjeev Kumar Sahib, and DGCCRUM for providing us AVCC platform and for organizing series of E-Charcha. Thankful to the IT and social media team of Ministry and CCRUM. We'll be meeting again on Monday, 22nd February for the next expert talk at the same time, that is 2:30 p.m. sharp. Join us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.